And thank you everyone who have come from various places around the Bay Area for visiting us here at ISV. Please make yourself at home, and if there's anything you need, please let us know. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Panachari Jamuna Thira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Mokyantimidandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Patakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunatham Bitham Dham Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahakana Lalita Sri Vishakan Bitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna to bring his chariot between the armies of the Kurus and the Pandavas. And when he looked upon all those who were assembled, seeing well-wishers, relatives, teachers, he felt affection for everyone. And knowing that this battle was about to happen, he became confused. He did not want to be a part of anyone getting harmed. He presented so many arguments to Lord Krishna why I cannot fight. I will not fight. Tears sprung from his eyes. His complexion became pale white. His limbs trembled. His lips quivered. The mighty bow Gandiva slipped from his hands. So today I'm remembering this scene, and somehow I'm just gazing at all of you and I feel so happy. Everyone is a friend, everyone is a relative, everyone is a teacher, everyone is a well-wisher. And certainly in this world there's every reason to fight with other people. It doesn't take a great person to find reason to have conflict and fighting. Because every ego has its own condition of trying to put myself in the center of the universe. And as soon as we put ourselves in the center of the universe, there's potential conflict. Because everyone else is putting their self in the center of the universe. I remember years ago I was speaking at a college and I was asked to speak on the particular subject of the class, which was economics. Before the class, I told the professor, I don't know about economics. The last time I had a bank account or signed a check was 1969. I haven't had a job since 1969. I can't remember ever buying anything since that time. What to speak of selling? So you want me to speak about the spiritual perspective of economics, but please tell me, what is economics? Because you're a tenured professor for so many years, you have a PhD on the subject. What is actually the study of economics about? And somebody who really knows their subject, they could encapsulate in a few words what it's really about. He told me, I am going to explain to you the entire science of economics. It's taken me 4 years of undergraduate, 2 years for a master's degree, another 3 years for a PhD, and I'm going to encapsulate it all in just a couple sentences. Because I think he knew that I couldn't assimilate more than that. He said the science of economics is based on a problem. How to find a solution and a resolution to this simple problem. That there are only a limited number of resources within the universe. What to speak of this planet. There are only limited resources within our planet, and every single person has unlimited desires for resources within our planet. So that's a problem. Or as Prabhupada said, as long as we think we're the center, and what happens to us is the most important consideration, that we're potentially always in conflict with everyone. Whether it's brothers and brothers, or sisters and sisters, or brothers and sisters, or brothers and sisters and cousins, or husbands and wives, friends and friends, one race and another race, one religion and another religion, one nationality and another nationality, one species and another species. We have this insatiable need, the ego, to somehow prove to ourselves. And when we need to prove to ourselves, we need a confirmation by proving to others that I am in a superior position. My dear god sister Yamuna Devi, who was one of Srila Prabhupada's closest associates, she would tell that one of the great problems that we're facing within or without, outside of our society and within our devotional society, is a sense of entitlement. that whatever I've done, I'm expecting certain material returns from others. But the whole concept of bhakti or devotional service is we're taking our own ego out of the center of what's really the important purpose of my life. And we're putting Krishna in the center. Athapumbir dvijastreshtas varanashrama vibhaga shashvanushtatasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Whatever our occupation, whatever our social status, our success is how the sincerity of our intent and our efforts is pleasing to Krishna, Lord Hari. The physical perception of success or failure, pleasure, pain, happiness, distress, honor, dishonor, are not really so important. What is important is God pleased with my sincerity and my efforts? In Ramayana, there was a great battle between Jatayu and Ravana. They both fought. Ravana wanted to take Sita away from Ram to exploit for his own purpose. Jatayu wanted to rescue Sita and bring her back to Ram, the Lord. Sita is his consort. Jatayu had nothing to gain for himself. He just wanted to return Sita to Ram. Ravana, his only motive was to enjoy Sita for himself at anyone's cost. What a battle that was. Jatayu was so old. He really didn't have a chance. Even Sita said, "Don't fight, Jatayu. You're too old. Ravana's too strong. Just, if you see Ram, tell him what happened to me. I've been kidnapped when he was away." But Jatayu could not stand there and do nothing. The British statesman Edmund Burke said, "Evil can only triumph when good people do nothing." Long before that was written, Jatayu, he said, "Ravana, I'm not going to allow you to take Sita away." And he attacked. There was such a fight. It lasted hours after hours after hours. Valmiki Muni and Sri Ramayana, he describes in great detail what happened. And ultimately, Jatayu became so tired and so weak due to exhaustion, because he was really old. He could hardly do anything, but somehow or other, he was stimulated. With every bit of strength he had and more, he fought. But when he couldn't even move his limbs anymore due to fatigue, he was defeated. But Ravana wasn't willing to just go away. He was so evil. He took his sword and cut off the wings of Jatayu, cut off his legs. In profuse puddle of blood, Jatayu fell. And Ravana, Sita ran to embrace Jatayu. "You have given your life for me. How could I ever repay you?" And Ravana grabbed her and took her away and went to Sri Lanka. So the question is, who won? Huh? Raise your hand if you think Ravana won. Either you're really attentive or you're really sleepy. Raise your hand if you think Jatayu won. Some of you are pretty sleepy. So, Ravana won, but he lost. And Jatayu lost, but he won. That's spiritual economics. Because when Ram came by and saw Jatayu and understood what happened, Ram embraced him. He held Jatayu's head in his lap and was weeping tears and bathing Jatayu's body with the tears of his love. And Jatayu was looking at the face of Ram, the beautiful moon-like face of Sri Ramchandra, and with tears flowing from his eyes, chanting the name Ram, Ram, Ram. He gave up his life. And Ram said to Lakshman, his brother, "There is no one more dear to me than Jatayu. I'm feeling his loss more than the death of my own father Dasarath, even more than losing Sita. Because he was willing to give everything to please me. How could I ever repay such a devotee?" The gopis of Vrindavan took such risks to please Krishna in the forest. And Krishna admitted, even in a lifetime of Brahma, which is a long, long time, I can never, with all the resources that I have, I can never repay you for your devotion. I'm forever in debt to you. Please just be satisfied with that love that you're feeling. It is that love that is the only real treasure, because it's the only thing that endures the powers of time. It is the only thing that can give fulfillment to the heart and to the soul. Ram told Jatayu, on this very day you are going to Vaikuntha, my eternal abode, to be with me forever in my pastimes. He attained the ultimate victory of life. But he lost the fight. And Ravana, he won the fight. But he totally lost the purpose of his life. Everything was ruined in due course of time. So when we put ourselves in the center, either in little ways or big ways, there's so many dissatisfactions, so many ways we have to prove ourselves, to others, and so many reasons to have conflict. So yes, material energy at every moment has in a storehouse limitless excuses, justifications, and reasons for us to fight with each other. And in that limitless storehouse, just one or two at a time are released. But what else is there? So is it such a great thing when we try to prove our heroism by overcoming another and showing our superiority? That's just being totally victimized, manipulated, and defeated by Maya illusion. But we have one reason to transcend all these differences. It pleases Krishna. If we do it in such a way, what will please you, Krishna? What will please you, Srila Prabhupada? What will please our Guru? Sankirtan is Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. It's the greatest benediction because it's a spiritual process which not just I do, but we do. With one voice, with one heart, we chant God's names to inspire each other, to enliven each other. Where we're all in this state of meditation that Krishna, who has descended in the name, is the center. And each one of us is contributing to that center. When you water the root of the tree, every part of the tree is satisfied. When Krishna is the center and we share that center, everyone goes up and up. And we can go up forever. Because Lord Chaitanya taught. Lord Chaitanya is the avatar of Sri Krishna who actually introduced the Sankirtan, especially in this world, through his example and through his words. Lord Chaitanya taught that the way in which we could actually connect to the holy names, the way we could really enter into the true meditation of Sankirtan, her Kirtan, is Trinadapi Sunichena, Tador Iba Sahishnana, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. This is not a detail. There's no other way. We must become more humble than a blade of grass, more forgiving and tolerant than a tree. We must be eager to offer all respect to others and not demand respect ourselves. Gopi Bharatur Padakamalayora Das 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 Anudas. Today I was listening to Vaisheshika Prabhu chanting this beautiful verse as he was doing his worship of the Supreme Lord on his altar at home. Vaisheshika Prabhu was one of the great inspirations in so many people's lives, especially and including my own life. His example is so rare. It's truly a divine gift in this world. Every morning, he does such beautiful worship of the Supreme Lord, and he's chanting this beautiful mantra. I do not desire any designation within this world. I only aspire to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Gopinath, of Sri Krishna. That was Lord Chaitanya's prayer before he began his Kirtan at Rath Yatra. That was the mood and the spirit of all of his true devotees, and forever will be. When we have that spirit of service, of really finding great joy in appreciating the achievements of others, appreciating the successes and the blessings that come upon others. And for those who are having difficult situations or are covered by various levels of illusion, We want to see them enlightened. We want to see them happy. The basis of this Krishna consciousness movement was so much encapsulated in Srila Prabhupada's prayers on the cargo ship Jaladuta. He was about 70 years old. He just endured several heart attacks, seasickness, 38 days in sea. He had no money. He didn't know anybody when he was about to get off that boat in America. Never met an American in his life. What was he praying? Most of us would be praying, "My dear Lord, please give me something to eat when I get there. Or give me a place to stay. Or I hope it's not too cold." We would naturally want something for our sustenance. Srila Prabhupada's only prayer was, "Krishna, give me the words to make these people happy." In one beautiful lecture Prabhupada was giving at a time of a marriage, in those days when I first read this prayer, it wasn't a prayer, it was a lecture he gave at a marriage. I was a brahmachari, and I was kind of taught that, marriages are pretty miserable. And that's why it's good to stay a monk. So it was self-assuring. But then I hear my guru giving this lecture, and he says the purpose of marriage is to be happy. And I really had to digest that. I started asking, that's not what everyone tells me. And then he was explaining why it doesn't matter if you're married or a monk. What matters is if you're connecting with the love of your soul for Krishna, for God, then you'll be happy. Grihe tako vane tako sada hari bole tako sukhe dukhe bulo nako varne hari nam korore gai gora madhusware. This is Lord Chaitanya's simple message. Whether you are living with a family, having a job in Silicon Valley, or whether I'm adding some additions, or whether you're living in the forest as a Swami, if you're truly taking shelter of the holy names in this spirit that we're speaking about, of being servant of the servant of the servant with Krishna in the center, then you will be happy, freed from all the illusory forms of happiness and distress that are always distracting us. Because in the material level, happiness opens the doors to distress. Because when something gives us happy, we become attached to it. And dukkha layama shashvatam. Because everything is under the influence of time. Nothing lasts. Right now, so many people are dying in the world. And we feel a little something. But when somebody we really love dies, how much more is it? What about everybody else? Because in this world, anything or anyone that gives us pleasure, when they're lost, it's going to give us pain. If somebody else loses $10 million in the stock market, we say, it's the way it is. But if you lose that much, it's different. Because you're attached to it. So all the happiness, all the pleasures of this world are opening the doors to future pain. Because they're limited and they have an end. So this beautiful verse by Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining when we actually put Krishna in the center. And we don't need to glorify ourselves anymore. We're happy glorifying Krishna. And Krishna has unlimited glories, and they never end. Then we're free from happiness and distress, because param dristvani vartate, we're experiencing something so much higher. We're experiencing reality. The beautiful reality. Bhaktaram jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. That Krishna is the proprietor of everything, the controller of everything, and the best friend. We are caretakers of this body, of whatever gifts we have, even if we've earned them. They're still gifts. And of every precious moment we have. And everyone is Krishna's children. So Vaisheshika Prabhu and Nirakula Devi, when they're at home, it just looks like any other house in the block. I was walking around the block today, and I just was looking, and all the houses look kind of the same, and the driveways look like the same, and the gardens kind of look the same. But there's something completely different. In this particular house, it's Vaikuntha, it's the spiritual world. Everything there is in the humble service of the Lord. Everything there is with Krishna in the center. And when we put Krishna in the center and you recognize Krishna in your own heart, you recognize Krishna is in the heart of every living being, so everyone becomes the center. It's not about me, it's about us. And he's doing his puja, his worship, and he's saying these beautiful prayers. And Nirakula Devi is cooking and doing so many other things. And what an incredible house. It's going on pilgrimage. It's an ashram. Ashram means a place that's exclusively dedicated to spiritual upliftment. And there's the brahmachari ashram, the sannyas ashram, and the grihastha ashram. There's monastery ashrams for monks, and there's the ashram of married couples who may have children, who may have bills to pay, who may have jobs. My dear godbrother Akruranath Prabhu and Chakarini Devi, Kanka Devi, Vaikuntanath Prabhu, I'm just seeing some. You know, they've in the world but not of this world. They may have professions that they're taking responsibility for. But the focus of it all, the intention of it all, is to share what they've received from our Guru, Srila Prabhupada, with others. The purpose of it all is to love Krishna and share that love for Krishna. And that's so beautiful. So I'm seeing all of you today, and it's just such a happy experience. Arjuna was in a very depressed state when he was looking out, because there was so much conflict between people he loved. But we're looking out and we're seeing that everyone's eager for me to end so you could have Kirtan and have prasad together. So how wonderful. And if I keep going longer, you'll feel more separation and you'll appreciate it even more. But I'd like to speak on one subject today. It is, according to our devotional calendar, a special holiday. It is either appearance or disappearance. The appearance of one great saint who is a personal associate of Lord Chaitanya. His name is Vakreshvar Pandit. May I tell something about the story? Yeah. I'm going to ask a question and give me an honest reply. Should I give an introduction leading into it or go right to the story?
Right to the story.
But what if the introduction's the best part? Introduction. Do you still have that gift I gave you? Thank you. Lord Chaitanya lived in Navadvip for 24 years. During the latter time, he introduced the Sankirtan movement and transformed so many people's hearts. He was a person who was married with a family at the time. But there were people who were envious of him, people who criticized him, or people who just thought because he's a family person just like us, they took him as someone ordinary. And even though so many people were being transcendentally transformed with prema, ecstatic love of God, he was also thinking of all those others who were criticizing him. So he had an idea. In those days, if you became a sannyasi, a swami, people respect you. It's not so much like that anymore. Really, it's not. Believe me, I was kind of hoping it would be like that. You become like a dumpster, you know. People just want to throw their garbage at you. But that's nice. It's humble service to it. So he decided to become a swami, a renunciate, so that people would hear what he would say. So that people would open their hearts to receive his message. And because he's avatar of Krishna, he's God, they would receive his mercy. His mercy was like the sun, shining in all directions. The sun does not discriminate who is going to get my rays and who is not. But it's up to us whether we want to go in a cave or come out in the sunshine. So he became sannyasi. This is an introduction. And eventually, by his mother's desire, he went to Jagannath Puri. He traveled through South India. He returned. And one day he said, I want to go to Vrindavan. And he began his journey. And so many people were going with him. Because if Lord Chaitanya is going to Vrindavan, Nityananda Prabhu and others were saying, we're going with you. Just like Vaisheshika Prabhu brings many of you on a pilgrimage to India. Sometimes you go to Jagannath Puri, sometimes Vrindavan, sometimes Mayapur. Who would not want to go to these holy places with Vaisheshika Prabhu? Such a blessing. Who would not want to go to Vrindavan with Lord Chaitanya? I'm not trying to make a comparison, but it's unimaginable. So he was going, and as he was going, so many people were following. And Lord Chaitanya decided, he stopped in Navadvip, the place where he was born and raised. Secretly, he went to the house, just with a few of his people, Nityananda, to the house of Vidyavachaspati, son of Visharada, the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Vidyavachaspati just came to his doorway, and there was Lord Chaitanya standing. It's not that they sent emails, I'm coming, or text messages. He just appeared. Vidyavachaspati was so happy. And he was speechless, and Lord Chaitanya said, I'm on my way to Mathura and Vrindavan, and I wanted to come here to see the Ganga and bathe in Mother Ganga. So I'd like to stay for 3 or 4 days, but please keep it a secret so nobody knows I'm here, because I just came here with a few others, and I want a quiet time. And Vidyavachaspati said, I will not allow anybody to know that you're here. My house is your house. Everything, my body, my mind, my soul, my wealth, my family, everything is your property for your pleasure, my Lord. But Vrindavan Das Thakur says, how long can you hide the sun? The word spread. Nimai has returned to Navadvip. And suddenly, hundreds and thousands of people were rushing to Vidyavachaspati's house. But to get there, you had to go through a forest. And the forest, some of the areas of the forest were filled with thorns. And there were paths in the forest. But when there's hundreds and thousands of people all going at the same time, much more crowded than what the temple is now, moving quickly, there's no paths. The entire forest was filled with people, but their enthusiasm was so much, and they were all talking to each other. We're going to see Nimai. I didn't recognize who he was. Now I understand who he is. When he lived here, I made so many mistakes and had so many shortcomings, and I never appreciated him. But now I'm going to go and I'm going to give him my heart. And another person said, my father's a gambler, and I'm going to pray that he could give up his gambling. And they were all thinking about so many different ways. They wanted to help others and show their love. And even though they were going through thick bushes of thorns, they didn't even notice it. And finally, they came to the river. And the Ganges there, it's a wide river that's extremely deep, and it has a mighty current. But you can't just swim across it. And most people in India do not know how to swim. I have this experience. One time we had a pilgrimage with many, many people. And we were going to, the heart of the pilgrimage was to go to this river. And I said, we are going to bathe in the river. How many of you know how to swim? Out of a couple thousand, there maybe have been 5. See? So I requested, it's dangerous to go in a river that's flowing like that if you don't know how to swim. So I requested that when we get back to Mumbai, everyone takes swimming lessons. And many did. So they get to this river. How to cross it? Suddenly every boatman saw hundreds of thousands of people are coming to the river, so all the boatmen came with their boats and they were so enthusiastic. This is the greatest opportunity in our life to make good profits. But they didn't know what to expect. Everyone was so enthusiastic to cross that river and see Lord Chaitanya again that thousands of people within moments got on a single boat. And the boat, it just fell apart. And the boatman now is really in anxiety. Not only, I don't even have a boat anymore. It's my only boat. It's finished. And the people, that wasn't going to stop them. They wanted to pay him something. Some gave him some money, just for his boat. And others didn't have money, so they just took off whatever clothes they had on and said, just take this, sorry. And how to get across the river. Some, they got clay pots. Because clay pots, when they're empty, they float. And they held a clay pot like this, and they used it like a raft. And they kicked their legs and went across the Ganges with that. And others, they took the branches from banana trees, because they float too. And they were holding the branches and going across. And most of the people, they did not know how to swim. It was a dangerous, massive current. But they were so enthusiastic to have darshan, to be with Lord Chaitanya. They forgot that they didn't know how to swim. And they swam across. And when all these people got to the other side, they were amazed. They were smiling, they were laughing, they were embracing each other. You did it, you did it, you did it too. And they ran, and they were looking for Lord Chaitanya, and they all came to the house of Vidyavachaspati. It's described that they were coming from all the directions. Everything was filled with humans. The fields, the villages, and everyone wanted to see the Lord. And Vidyavachaspati said, there's a lot of people out there waiting for you. Somehow or other, they found out you're here. And they were all chanting the names of Hari. And they were chanting louder and louder to attract the Lord to come. And then the Lord came out and raised his arms and smiled. And everyone could see him. It's described hundreds of people were climbing the same tree. And yet, even when they were sitting at the edges of the branches of the tree, none of the branches broke. Hundreds of people were getting on the roof of little straw huts, and it didn't collapse. Everyone was gazing upon the beautiful golden form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya looked upon them with his beautiful lotus-like eyes, tears flowing out of compassion for all these people. He raised his two beautiful arms and said, he gave them a blessing and an instruction. He said, may your mind always be absorbed in Krishna. Chant the names of Krishna. Worship Krishna. Hear the glories of Krishna. Know that Krishna's your real wealth. Krishna's your heart. Krishna's your soul. Krishna's your very life. This was a simple message. And everyone was chanting. And Lord Chaitanya was so happy to be with all of them, and they were all so happy to be with him. But meanwhile, more and more and more, it came, according to the Chaitanya Bhagavat, there were now millions of people. Suddenly, Lord Chaitanya just was not there. And Vidyavachaspati, where is he? He didn't know. And everybody was feeling separation. They were just seeing him. They were feeling his glance. Everyone is thinking he's looking at me only. Millions of people at one time. That is the power that he has to reciprocate love with everyone forever. Individuals were coming, one after another to Vidyavachaspati. I'm all alone. I know Lord Chaitanya's hiding in your house. I promise I won't tell anyone. Just let me in to see the Lord. He said, I don't know where he is. Even I don't know. And it was becoming serious. Because everyone was thinking, if we chant really sincerely with all our hearts, very loudly, then Lord Chaitanya will be attracted to come. So all these millions of people were chanting really loudly. But Lord Chaitanya didn't come. So they chanted louder and louder and louder. It was tumultuous. Let us try in this spirit. They're invoking Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, to appear before them. And each one, with all their hearts, with all their voice, their arms raised, please. But he didn't come. So they raised their arms and chanted 1,000 times louder. He was nowhere to be seen. They had great faith. If we chant with enough feeling and fill the world with this vibration to liberate everybody, the Lord will be pleased to appear to us. They raised their arms millions of times louder. Something like that. Then it became serious. When they saw he wasn't appearing, they started making these accusations against Vidyavachaspati. You are supposed to be a Brahmin. You're supposed to be a good person. A Brahmin's nature, any decent person is not selfish. Culture is compassion. This Vidyavachaspati is not a cultured person. He's not compassionate. He's selfish. Lord Chaitanya is in his house, and he gets to see him. And we're all out here suffering in separation. He doesn't care anything about us. What a horrible man this is. Even an ordinary person, if he has thousands of sweets, he'll share the sweets. He doesn't eat them all himself. well, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the sweetest of all sweet things, and Vidyavachaspati, he's not willing to share him with anybody. He simply hides him. And Vidyavachaspati was saying, no, this isn't true. I'm just like you. I don't know where he is. And they were saying, you're a liar, you're a cheater. And he was really in distress. And while all this was going on, somebody whispered in his ear. This is still the introduction. Somebody whispered in his ear, Lord Chaitanya has gone to Kuliagram. Do what you want with this information. Then he left. Vidyavachaspati said, I know where the Lord is. You have called me a liar, but I am going to redeem myself. He's gone to Kulia. Let's all go to Kulia. So everybody was cheering and moving toward Kulia. Very enthusiastic. One of the challenges is they had to cross the Ganga again. Whatever boats survived, they were there. People were getting on it. Let's go fast. And the boatman went before everybody got on it. And suddenly, because so many people, they were getting on the boat and getting on the boat, the boats began to sink. And somehow, right when the boat was about to sink, some sand kind of built up under it. And it didn't sink. Then they all jumped off the boat and they all, somehow or other, they swam or they floated or they got across. Now they're in Kulia, which is today's modern-day Navadvip. And they're all looking at Vidyavachaspati, where is he? But Vidyavachaspati had no idea where he was. He just heard one little Brahmin whisper in his ear, he's in Kulia. But Kulia it's an island, it's a big place. So they were all looking. And then somehow Vidyavachaspati found out Lord Chaitanya was at the house of one great soul named Madhava. And he went there. He couldn't find Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya found him and called someone, go bring him here. And he came all alone. And Vidyavachaspati said, my whole reputation is finished. Everyone's calling me a liar and a cheater, and they're saying I'm cruel and I'm envious and all these things. Please save me. You're the Supreme Lord who's kind to everyone. Just even for a moment, just show yourself to them. And meanwhile, outside the house of Madhava was such a uproarious kirtan of the holy names. And then, like the sun rising, Lord Chaitanya emerged from the house of Madhava in such a way with his resplendent golden form so everyone could see him. And he raised his arms, Hari Bol. Everyone chant the names. They were such a celebration. There were thousands of different kirtan parties among millions of people. And Lord Chaitanya was going out and dancing from one kirtan party. He was just dancing with all these people. Most of them were what we would common people, shopkeepers and farmers. And Lord Chaitanya was dancing with them, bestowing his full mercy upon them. Everyone there, literally, according to Chaitanya Bhagavan, they were floating in an ocean of love of God. In Kulia, many of those people who were very critical, offensive, dismissal, in a very dismissal mood toward Lord Chaitanya when he lived in Navadvip, they were all coming. Because after he accepted sannyas, it was like now he's gone. They took him for granted, but when he was gone, and he may never return, he's a renunciate. His brother took sannyas and has never been seen again. It was a wake-up call. It was a jolt. Even the most offensive people, there was a change. One man came to him and said, I was so much critical of you. And especially, worse than that, I was critical of your devotees. I was saying, who could be a real devotee in this age of Kali? What should I do? Lord Chaitanya gave an analogy. If you drink poison, it's going to make you really sick. But if you drink nectar, it will counteract the poison and make you well. In the same way, when you criticize those who love the Lord, it's drinking poison to your spiritual life. But when you chant the glories of the Lord's devotees, when you appreciate them with your words and your actions, it's like drinking nectar. He gave a simple instruction to everyone. Use your mouth to drink the nectar of chanting God's names and speaking of your appreciation of those devotees. And never criticize. Never criticize. And very soon you will see Krishna. Then, now the introduction's finished. Such a nice community. I don't want to end because I just like to be with you. But I don't want to be between you and the wonderful prasad. So there was one particular person who was really shy to come before Lord Chaitanya. His name was Devananda Pandit. He was one of the most reputed scholars of Navadvip. He was especially a teacher of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But because he had hurt the heart of a devotee named Srivas, he couldn't understand the true meaning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is described, he was a Brahmin. He had very high values. His life was completely pious. He was self-controlled, sense-controlled, always clean, and he was constantly reciting Srimad Bhagavatam and teaching it to others, but he couldn't understand its purpose. He was feeling no love for Krishna, because somehow or other, he had hurt the heart of devotees. And one time, years before, when Lord Chaitanya was still in his householder status, he heard Devananda Pandit reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam to his students. And Lord Chaitanya said very loudly, he knows nothing about Srimad Bhagavatam. He has no right to speak this scripture. And Devananda heard that. But still, he couldn't understand. He had no appreciation that the very Lord, who's the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, was standing before him. He couldn't recognize, he couldn't appreciate it all. But after Lord Chaitanya left for sannyas, something happened. There was a great devotee named Vakreshvar Pandit. He was one of the most loving associates of Lord Chaitanya. His special quality was how he danced so beautiful in Kirtan. The beauty of his dance was not just the physical movements that he made. It was the love that was expressed. You see, Kirtan is not about being a good dancer. It's about being a lover of God or having the intent to love God. When we chant, we're chanting for Krishna's pleasure. We're chanting in compassion for all beings to help them come closer to their own souls and to God's love. And when we're dancing, every movement is an offering of this body of ours and our mind as an offering of love to God who has appeared in the name. When we Hare Krishna, as Krishna's being praised, we're offering our arms, we're offering our heads, we're offering our legs, we're offering every part of our body. Such a meditation. That's Kirtan. There are different forms of meditation. One is we sit and we do not move and we meditate. Meditate on the beautiful form and name of the Lord. In Kirtan, our meditation is every organ, every limb, every cell of our body. We're just offering it to Krishna with love and gratitude. That's dancing. It's the supreme culmination of all asanas. Is to offer our body, our mind, our words, our life in loving devotion to the Supreme. See, the light just went on. So Vakreshvar Pandit, he had such love. He was a personification of prema, or ecstatic love of God. And he was so gentle, so humble, so respectful to everyone and anyone. Even though Devananda Pandit was known to the devotees as being a very dry scholar who completely was misleading people without teaching them the essence of the scripture that they held most sacred. And even though Lord Chaitanya chastised him, and he didn't even respond to that chastisement, Devananda saw the inherent potential within him. Devananda Pandit was so kind to, Vakreshvar Pandit was so kind, so respectful to Devananda Pandit. And what happened is Devananda Pandit developed affection for this devotee. So much affection. And Vakreshvar Pandit decided, I'll stay at Devananda Pandit's home. Devananda Pandit said, please come. I invite you to my home. I want you to be with you. I want your association. And Vakreshvar came. And he would have kirtan. And Devananda would serve him in every way with so much affection, so much love. When Vakreshvar would dance in kirtan, sometimes crowds of people would come and Devananda would have a stick and would protect people from crashing into Vakreshvar Pandit, because you know what kirtan could be like. So he could dance freely. And sometimes he would be, Vakreshvar Pandit, in a trance of ecstatic love, he would start to fall, and Devananda was always so aware he would catch him with his arms. He would clean Vakreshvar's body with his hands, and he would And he would take the dust and put it on his own body as an act of humility and appreciation of this person. Devananda was quietly a little distance from Lord Chaitanya. He was afraid to come before him. But Lord Chaitanya saw him and said, Devananda, because you have appreciated and rendered service to Vakreshvar Pandit, please come and sit beside me. Lord Chaitanya, with his own mouth, Krishna himself, there's no greater happiness he has than glorifying those who are his devotees. He said, Vakreshvar Pandit is ecstatic love personified. Krishna is forever living within his heart, and Krishna is manifesting himself within the heart of Vakreshvar Pandit. Wherever Vakreshvar Pandit is, all the holy places of pilgrimage throughout the world are present in that place. Wherever Vakreshvar Pandit performs Kirtan, wherever Vakreshvar Pandit is even present, that is Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. When Vakreshvar dances, Krishna's dancing. When Vakreshvar is singing, Krishna's singing. Because you have served and appreciated Vakreshvar Pandit, therefore all of your illusions, all of your offenses, everything is forgiven and eradicated. I give you ecstatic love for Krishna. Because one who serves Krishna, one who worships Krishna may or may not get supreme liberation. But one who worships and honors and serves with humility those who love Krishna will certainly get the highest liberation. This is the words Lord Chaitanya was quoting from the scriptures. Devananda Pandit, he asked a question. He said, please bless me. Please bless me that I will never forget Krishna. I will never forget you, and I will always be the servant of your servants. And all I know how to do in my life is teach Srimad Bhagavatam, because he was the most famous teacher in Navadvip. He said, but I don't know how to speak it. Please tell me, how should I teach Srimad Bhagavatam to others? Lord Chaitanya explained that every part of Srimad Bhagavatam, the beginning, the middle, and the end, there's only one subject: bhakti. What is bhakti? Bhakti is the inherent ecstatic love that is within the heart of every living being. It's the nature of the soul. That is bhakti. Ahoitaki apratihata. Savai pung sang paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahoitaki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme dharma, the supreme religion, the supreme spiritual path is not this ism or that ism. It's that which awakens the love that's dormant within our hearts. That love is called bhakti. And bhakti yoga is the process that is specifically meant to reconnect us with that love that we've forgotten. That is the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. That love for God is beyond all mystic powers, beyond all material affluence, opulence, pleasure. It's beyond the 8 mystic cities. It's beyond liberation. It includes everything. It's eternal. It's the nature of the soul. It's the only experience that gives pleasure to Krishna, is when we love him. Once Srila Prabhupada was in an assembly of many, many devotees from all over America. And somebody asked him a question, what pleases you the most? And everyone feels that their service is really important. Srila Prabhupada gave a simple answer. He said, what pleases me the most is when you love Krishna. And what pleases Krishna the most is when you love his devotees. This is the story of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's eternal. It's ever existing, this love for Krishna. And it's the only thing that can, anandam buddhivardhanam, it's the only thing that can bring real pleasure to the heart. So whenever you explain Srimad Bhagavatam, explain it in this way, to help to awaken that love for God, that love for Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, in the hearts of others. And in this way, very soon you will see Krishna. It was by the compassion of Vakreshvar Pandit that this great transformation took place in the heart of Devananda Pandit. It was so many thousands and thousands of people had the same experience just by opening their hearts to appreciate a great devotee like this. On the disappearance day of Vakreshvar Pandit, this is the message we can reflect upon. What is really important in our life? Padam padam yadvi padam natesham. Whoever we are, whether we don't know how to spell our name or whether we have triple PhDs, whether we're living in a little ashram on the floor, or whether we're living just somehow or other trying to survive with hardly any money, in debt, or whether we're multi-billionaires. Whoever we are, male, female, black, white, red, yellow, brown, we're going to die. And it's coming soon. I was just with an old friend the other day, and he was telling me he was on an airplane sitting next to this lady who was 92 years old. And my friend, he asked, what is the greatest lesson that you have in life? And she said, I'm 92 years old, and my whole life, it seems like it's all passed within a moment. Everything just goes so fast. That's what life is. What's really important? The soul's eternal. But what's the use of being eternal? Just being eternal is not so nice. The nature of the eternal soul is this unmotivated, uninterrupted, ecstatic love for the supreme eternal, for the all-attractive, all-beautiful, all-merciful Krishna, God. To be an instrument of that mercy is to be compassionate. That's the joy of life. That's the wealth of life. We all have that. This beautiful story of Vakreshvar Pandit is, if we appreciate those people who are really striving to achieve that, or those who have achieved it, then we open our hearts to receive it. And in this spirit, how much love we can spread throughout the universe when we raise our arms and together chant these beautiful names. You sound very tired. Would you like to have Kirtan? Do we have time? After my talk, I think I may have made you uncomfortable to say no. But everyone, please let us dance with great enthusiasm and inspire one another, appreciate one another, and bring out the best in each other as we're chanting the holy names. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Everybody please. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, everyone together. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, everyone. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, everybody, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, everybody, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo. Gaura Premanandi. Everyone, please raise your arms. With all our hearts, very loudly, with great feeling, please let us sing together. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Many millions of times louder, please, everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, please. Everyone. Hare Krishna. Louder, please. Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patithanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thank you very much.